Solutions, coaching, counseling, naturopathic medicine, insights for successful living, and getting better with Ann Beal.
Welcome. I'm Ann Beal, and I'm excited to share with you two interviews, one with Luke Moon of the Philos Project. That is spelled Philos. And Luke has been a missionary in 45 countries. He was formerly with the Institute of Religion and Democracy, and this Baptist minister has a unique perspective on the persecution of Christians and Jews around the world. He is also going to talk with us about what's happening in Russia as well as here in the U.S. It can explain why Christians should be concerned about the war in Europe and what's going on in Israel. And then we have Mark Hancock from Trail Life USA, the boys' scouting program for young men to build character, to learn outdoor survival and mentoring. So stay right here. Here we go. I'm Ann Beal, and I'm here with my host, Dr. Jim Slaughter.
Hello.
And we have Luke Moon from the Philos Project joining us today. And Luke has come a long ways. Where'd you come from?
I came from New York.
New York, to share about the project with us. And it's very exciting, so we wanted you to hear about it.
Yeah. So the Philos Project, we started in 2014. We promote positive Christian engagement in the Near East. And when people would ask me, Luke, what do you do? I mean, because that's a very broad thing. And I would say, well, we raise awareness about Christian persecution and encourage Christian support for Israel. And they say, well, why do those two things go together? Well, first of all, in 2014, ISIS was rising. They were doing a lot of terrible things in the region. Christians were fleeing and they had nowhere to go. And we had to, encourage Christians, hey, you got to stand up for your brother. And then why Israel? Well, because it's actually the only place in the Near East where the church is growing, where they have rule of law, they have freedom of religion, freedom of speech. It's a very vibrant place, right?
Yeah.
And in contrast to other places in the region, it's like, I remember telling my pastor what I did, and he said, well, Luke, what about the Palestinians? I said, what about the Palestinians? I say, where it's illegal to convert from Islam to Christianity in the Palestinian territories, if you write a Facebook post against the president, you can go to jail for a year. And the Palestinian leadership has told me specifically that a future Palestinian state will be free of Jews. I'm like, I can't advocate for that that's not just, right? And as a Christian, I got to stand for justice.
Well, and people don't understand that. I think people think that they're nice people.
They are nice people.
The Palestinians themselves is not what we're talking about. It's the regime itself that runs it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And so, we in those 7 years that we've been around, we've done a lot of projects. I often tell people, imagine 100 million Christians in America, 20 million love Israel regardless, 20 million hate Israel regardless, and this group in the middle, unengaged or underengaged on Israel. The makeup of that group, the younger you are, the less white you are, and the more you run stuff within the Christian space, the less likely you are to support Israel. Right. And so we started to engage people, talk about the region as a whole, kind of zoom out. People often try and put Israel in the gated community of Western Europe when actually it's in a rough neighborhood. And you gotta zoom out.
No, it is.
And so we started programming to engage young people. We started a program called Passages, which brings Christian college students to Israel on a very subsidized trip, almost like a Christian birthright type program to deepen their faith. We started a Hispanic Affairs program to engage Hispanics. We started an African American Affairs program to engage the African American community. And then we bring kind of high level, we call them VIPs, on trips to Israel as well, so that they can see for themselves what's going on the ground and engage at a deeper level.
Wow. That's exciting. So how long have you been doing this? 7 years?
7 years. But actually, this month is my 10-year anniversary of doing anything related to Israel. I was a missionary for 12 years with YWAM, Youth with a Mission. Then towards the latter part of my work with them, I was doing stuff related to the fight against human trafficking and felt like God was like, I want you to move to D.C. And so by faith, I packed my bags and, my wife and daughter went off to D.C. And I started working in the intersection of faith and politics there. And then I got involved. I went to Israel first time in 2012. And I just wanted to meet people. I wanted to hear their story. Tell me what's going on here. What do you think? Like, why are you here?
Why are you
Right?
here?
Why are you here? It's a very, real question, right? And so I did that, on the Israel side, and I was in the Palestinian territories, and I asked the same question, like, what's going on here? Why are you here, right? And I remember sitting with a Palestinian peace activist, and I asked him, what do you want? He was like, well, I want peace. I was like, well, so does Miss America. That's not an answer. Everybody
that is true.
wants
Every
peace.
Miss America wants peace.
Every Miss America, right? And I said, like, paint me the picture of peace. And sadly, the picture of peace had no Jews in it.
No Jews.
And that's
maybe
not peace.
maybe no one else but Palestinians.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's not peace. I mean, yeah, it's peace being like, no, there's no war, but there's no reconciliation.
Well,
there's no friendship. There's no cessation of actual violence. Exactly.
There's still fear in an environment like that.
Right. Exactly.
And just because you get rid of certain amounts of people doesn't mean you're going to have peace.
Well, that's, in the Near East, the Islamists have this statement, first the Saturday people, then the Sunday people. Okay, meaning first we'll kick out the Jews, and then we'll kick out the Christians.
Right.
And when we started this in 2014, there was about 300,000 to 400,000 Christians in Iraq. Today they're down to 100,000. In 2003, there were over 1 million.
Where'd they go?
Chicago.
So they all left.
There's more Christians from Iraq living in the Chicago area than are living in Iraq. But actually, it was this last year, this conflict between Israel and Gaza in May, that really it sparked something in me. I got invited by a Jewish publication to go in and cover an anti-Israel rally in Teaneck, which is an Orthodox Jewish town in New Jersey, and they were doing the rally on Saturday, which is Shabbat, right? And so the Jews were like, don't go out, don't poke the bear, don't do just stay in your house, right? Yeah. And so I got asked to cover. I'm not Jewish, so I could go, right? And I thought, I'm going to do more than just be, to cover it, right? And so on the way, I picked up, I went by CVS. I got one of those cardboard, white signs, and marker, and I wrote, I stand with Israel and Jews. Okay, and I stood there with my sign on one side of the fence, and on the other side of the fence was about 250 Palestinian activists screaming at me, yelling at me, laughing at me, spitting at me. And it was me, and there was eventually about a dozen Jews showed up. But I posted just a picture of me with my sign, and behind me was the massive crowd, right? Yeah. And I tell you, it was made such a difference. People sent me stuff out of the blue, right? Like I got boxes of pastry goods. I got whiskey sent from Israel. People loved they loved that, right? And then in September, Burlington, Vermont, the city was having a BDS resolution in the city council, and I found out about it about 11:30. And I said, you know what? I Google mapped how fast can I get up to Burlington, Vermont? 5 hours, right? So I threw some stuff in a bag, waited till my wife got home from the grocery store. And I said, honey, I'm going to Burlington, Vermont. I'll see you tomorrow. And I got my truck and I drove up to Burlington. And the city council's at 7, and I got there about 5:30. And there was a rally outside, and people were outside, doing the thing. And then we all got into the place where the meeting was happening, and people were just yelling and stuff. And I was again the only non-Jewish pro-Israel person in the room.
So what does BDS stand for?
Boycott, divestment, and sanction. Right, so they want to
boycott, divestment, and sanction against Israel.
Yeah, yes. They want to basically force them to not sell anything, like
what they're doing to Russia right now, right? Like in Israel,
right. Well, the crazy thing is that it's a movement called the anti-normalization, right? Which is it's absurd because to our earlier point, right? Like if you don't interact with people who are different from you, it's very easy to hate them.
Well, that's what the Nazis did, right?
Yes.
So let's just get rid of everyone not blue-eyed and blonde, and
And-
they'll be fine.
Right. And how it's not seen as in that like fascist sense kind of blows my mind. But again, like it was one of those things. I was, you know what? If I had 12 hours notice, or if I could have brought, a dozen more people with me. And if it was like me, Luke Moon, made that impact, imagine what a dozen of us would do, right? And so after that, we launched what we're calling the Philos Action League, which is it's a membership community. People pay $50 to be a member of it's like joining the, I'm a member of Trout Unlimited, so it's like being a Trout Unlimited or the NRA or whatever. And they get a T-shirt and a sticker, and they commit themselves when there's a anti-Semitic incident in their community, or heck, within 100 miles of their community, that we as Christians show up physically, not just on social media, not just with a hashtag, physically show up. I'm telling you, like, I think we're hungry as a people for getting outside of our computers and our screens and being in the flesh, right? We have this thing at the Philos Project we call incarnational advocacy, right? Which means like incarnation means like in the flesh.
In the flesh.
In the flesh, because too much advocacy takes place online.
Well, and people don't even visit their friends. Like before Facebook, you called people and then you went.
Yeah, no, I got 2,000 friends on
We got
Facebook,
friends.
right?
You got friends. Yeah,
and then I got real friends, right? And what's the difference? We all know the difference is that like the real friends are the ones you see. Actually,
Just go see.
Go see them. Well, the Bible says, we are flesh and spirit, right?
Yeah.
And I don't see anywhere in the New Testament where it says that we're digital. I don't.
No.
So you're raising or enlisting kind of an incarnational army.
Yes.
Of people to go and support Israel and Israel's cause and Israel's name and
Israel's people.
And
I would include those in all of those things. Yes, so how do you reach out and enlist these people to become a part of your army?
Well, by coming to the NRB and talking to you all.
Okay,
right?
Yes.
All right. That's one way.
And that's one way. I mean, really, it comes down. I mean, I've everywhere I go, I invite people come and join the Philos Action League. Okay, because the people I'm engaging with on a regular basis, they already support Israel and the Jewish people,
Right.
And they don't always know, like, okay, like, what do I do though, right? Like, what, something happens, and there was a couple weeks ago in New York City, there was a restaurant that had graffiti sprayed on it, F juice, all over the restaurant, and I was like, we're gonna go there the next day, and we're gonna have lunch, and we're gonna bring white roses, right? White roses. We chose the white rose as a symbol for the Philos Action League because it harkens back to a group of young college students and young professionals in the 40s in Germany who recognized the issue of Nazism, how it was destroying their nation, and they're like, we're the white rose, and so we got a couple bouquets of white roses. And we went to this restaurant, and we sat, and we had a meal, and we gave the owner of the restaurant a bouquet of white roses, and just told him we're here in support of the Jewish people.
So how can they reach you to find you? And actually, do you have a website?
We have a website, philosproject.org. So,
PHILOS project.org.
Yes,
Yeah.
And you'll see on there we do a lot of programming, but one of the things you'll see there is the Philos Action League.
Oh,
and
good.
you can join that.
I got you. Okay, so that's wonderful, wonderful. And we just thank you. We hope you'll reach out to him and get involved. Can anyone get involved?
Absolutely. I mean, it really is. I mean, my goal is by the end of the year to have 10,000 members of the Philos Action League.
That's wonderful.
And I think if I have 10,000, like I said, the impact that I had as one person, okay, was incredible. And then I've taken now I've done stuff where I do get to bring a dozen, 20, 30 here,
That's
right?
good.
And
Yes.
I'm telling you, you have no idea.
Well, that'll
the
be
impact.
good. We just thank you.
I know.
And
Yeah.
alrighty, you guys
Thank
reach
you
out.
so much. Thank
Take
you
care.
so much for the time.
Alrighty, guys, and keep
Good to
getting
see
better.
you.